Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to the first Unoriginal cast of all time. I am super excited being here, being able to cast these games, especially this game in particular. I am super excited about it because these are two fantastic players. Up in the top spawn position, we see ESC Goody. I'm sure a lot of you know who this is. And down here at the other spawn position, we see Whitera. Whitera is probably my favorite StarCraft 2 player in general. I find his playstyle absolutely fascinating, and I love his great manners, and just everything about him is super cool. So I am very excited to be able to see him play in this game. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever really cast a game. I've been practicing a bit before, but I haven't actually recorded anything yet. This is the first time. Hopefully it all goes pretty well. Granted, I'll probably screw up a ton, and that's unavoidable being who I am. So hopefully it won't be too bad. Hopefully it'll be entertaining. I plan to do this multiple times, hopefully. I hope that I'll actually be able to do this more. At this point, I'm just getting used to it, though. Still not totally sure if I'm going to be able to with my schedule coming up, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. So anyways, this map is going to be Scrap Station. This is obviously a fairly old game, actually. I'm starting out with a fairly old game, so I got this one off Whitera's site because I was interested in seeing some of his replays, and I want to see more of him because what I have seen is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Scrap Station. I really haven't played on it too much. I got StarCraft 2 as it was released. I played in the beta, but I stopped playing it fairly recently, or fairly soon after I got the game, and I didn't really 1v1 until like this year. I think it was April or whatever. So I missed out on Season 1 almost totally. I think I missed out on all of it, actually. Yeah. And so I started 1v1ing Season 2, and this map wasn't in that lineup. I don't think. It might have been, actually. But I never played it, I don't think. And I'm glad, because, honestly, I absolutely hate this map. There's just... I play Terran, so you'd think I'd love it, because it's a really good map for Terran, but it's just... While I play Terran, I do feel for other races, and the fact that there's the space that you can lift off to, that you can expand to instead of your natural, and you'll have a perfectly unbreakable expansion, or at least it'll be hard to, because then again, they have to get flying units, transportation, or any sort of those units. That really makes it much easier to defend, and Terran is the only real race that has that advantage, so it's totally imbalanced. Also, something similar is true with the thirds, or not the thirds, excuse me, these fourths. They have rocks here, which makes it more difficult to get to them. The Terran player could build a command center here or so and just fly it over, however, not break those rocks, give them a little more warning time, be able to make that expansion that much easier to defend. But yeah, anyways, summed up, I really dislike this map, but hopefully we'll see an awesome game on it. Looking at the production tab, oh shoot, I totally forgot. Oh my god, it's D. Production tab is D. Yeah, see, I'm still getting used to this. I haven't learned the system totally yet. I'm trying to get it down. Eventually I will. Maybe. I hope I will. So, in the future I shouldn't make mistakes like that, but at this point I do. It looks like we're going to see a fairly fast starport and a very fast robotics facility coming from Whitera. He doesn't have a second gate up yet. He's going straight for the robo. And we see a warp prism coming out, and this is something that Whitera is very well known for. He really likes warp prism plays. He does a lot of dropping and a lot of stuff like that. This map really favors him when he does this. We're going to see we're going to see a drop coming from Goody as well. I'm assuming that's why these Hellions are over here instead of down here. So yeah, we'll see two drops. So this will be very interesting. It looks like the timing on them will actually be pretty much identical. It looks like they'll actually intercept each other mid-air. So Whitera and Goody will both know what's coming their way. We'll see how they defend. Unfortunately for Goody, he doesn't really have very good units to defend against this. Warp Prism almost gets taken down, but the units are out. and this is big drop. We see Hellions over here. We're going to be taking out. It looks like Goody wasn't really microing very much because he was trying to deal with dropping his own base rather than microing and White Res. Excuse me. But it looks like he will get out of there almost unharmed. He lost one Hellion, and his medevac and Hellions are obviously very harmed. At the same time, though, we see that this drop that White Red did was absolutely devastating towards our Terran player. It still hasn't been cleared up. This Stalker has 6 kills. The Stealth has 2. I'm sure the other units that were over there had quite a few too. It looks like the Stalker will actually... No, he will not be able to get an 8th kill. But he had a lot of kills there, man. That was quite the Stalker. Units lost is showing that it's fairly even, actually. Even though White Red did a lot of damage, but he was fairly good at protecting his SCV. Granted, White Red delayed mining for a long time. He's been mining this entire time, so that's really good for him. And he did come out ahead. And as a Protoss player, not really used to the cost efficiency from drops. It's more Terran that has the really good units that are cheap and able to do a ton of damage with harassment. And that's why you really need to harass if you want to win a fight as Terran. You can't just use Death Ball or what have you. And it looks like this Warp Prism is actually going to be taken out. It will be. Its entire load is able to be dropped. All that Goody has to defend against this are Hellions and Marines, which is very poor composition to deal with Stalkers. This is devastating what we see here. It looks like this Stalker will be taken out, but there's still 2 in the base. It looks like Goody does have a Siege Tank, and the Siege Tank's really good against Stalkers, actually. So this drop will probably get cleaned up, but it did a lot of economic damage. We look at the resources lost tab, we see that it's fairly even still, excuse me. But the fact is that White Red has been able to do cost-efficient damage with drops as Protoss, which is always a good thing to do when you're playing Protoss, because usually you're not used to being able to do that. So that puts him really far ahead. It also helps him a ton. The unit composition coming from our Terran player really is not very good versus White Red's units. Tanks are a very good pick. I'm glad that he switched them, but he really needs some Marauders in there, and I like the Viking. He doesn't really need more. He should get some Medevacs, get some Marauders, and he could still have a chance at this game. But at this point, I'm going to say that this map, or this matchup, is really favoring White Red. We finally see Goody working on his command center, and actually it looks like, looking at the minimap, I saw a building, probably an engineering bay or something, that Goody was blocking White Red with. So White Red actually wasn't able to start his expansion for quite a while. But at the same time, due to the fact that Goody will probably advocate for getting his orbital and doing it safely in his base, we'll probably see White Red mining fairly quicker than Goody will be at his natural. But that might be wrong. He might go for just lifting off and landing there. Looking at the income tab, we see that while minerals is fairly even, as is gas at this point, the harvester count really is favoring Goody, which makes, favoring White Red. And this makes sense due to the fact that that White Red has been able to do tons of damage to Goody's economy. We see there's 4 Stalkers coming in here, there's tanks. It looks like we'll be able to snipe the tank and be able to get out of there with minimal damage. It takes a little bit of damage in each of those Stalkers, they'll regenerate their shields, and got an entire tank, which is always a huge thing. Tanks are super important for a Terran player, especially in this situation. That Absorber will get sniped out. That's always very unfortunate to have happen. So it looks like White Red just transferred over a few workers. At the same time, Goody's orbital just finished, so he'll probably be lifting that up and putting his workers down. However, he does know that these Stalkers are here, and he might be a little tentative to go over and land due to the fact that he knows that it could get sniped pretty easily. So he'll probably wait a little longer. Sorry, I'm terrible at this. There was an Archon and probably a few other units that got dropped in the main. It looks like it did quite a bit of damage. I'm looking at the resources lost. Actually, it's not hugely different. White Red is ahead by 225. Again, there's the fact that he's been able to do these cost-efficient drops as Protoss, which is always a brilliant thing, as I've said before. It really helps you out. So, Goody is really starting to fall behind quite significantly here. He's finally got his expansion up. He's dropping some mules. He hasn't transferred anything over yet. Income is showing that at this point, White is very far ahead because he is mining on 2 bases, and Goody is just now getting that saturation that is natural. So that'll boost his income, and we should see fairly even incomes in a moment here. Granted, White does have this assimilator up, while Goody has nothing. When we look over here, we see Stalker is trying to get past, but the Stink is in a great position. And it looks like White is actually going to go for these rocks, try to take them down. We see a missile turret going up at the high ground, so Goody knows exactly what's going on. I do not think, no, White does not know that is there. He does not know that these units have been spotted. That's always really important to know when your units have been spotted, and it looks like this Banshee will come over here. The Banshee and the tank will be able to snipe I almost called it a Sentry Stalker. We see one Stalker almost dead. We might see the Banshee go for a snipe. It looks like we will. Takes 2 hits due to those shields regenerating. Shields are super nice, obviously. And we see that White has taken his 3rd, or he's currently taking it. He's also breaking down the rock at his 2nd. I don't know why, maybe just to transfer those workers over faster or to defend that location more easily. Either way, excuse me, whoa, that was something. I'm glad you guys couldn't hear that, or at least I hope you couldn't. Anyways, so we see that Goody has gotten his natural up. He's fairly good on income. White is a bit ahead in the mineral count, which is interesting due to the fact that Goody has mules up, and those are always super helpful to your economy. We see White going for a proxy pylon. I don't know if it was... yeah, Goody does know that this pylon is going up. His missile turret was alive long enough to see that. It looks like there's going to be a Banshee coming over to snipe it. But there's High Templar in position. This could be huge if this Banshee gets feedback. He really needs to keep all his units alive right now. When you're in a situation... loses the Banshee. That's big. Units lost. It's fairly even still, which is really surprising. But I still feel like White is very much ahead. His unit comp is fantastic. Looking at the units, we see 13 Zealots, 3 Immortals, 5 Stalkers, 3 High Templar versus 4 Hellions, a medevac of Viking, 4 tanks now, but he just lost 2 more, and 9 Marines. This matchup is really favoring our Protoss player here. I don't think there's much that our Terran player can do at this point now that his expansion has been denied. He really doesn't have the economy to keep up with White. This is just going to be the end of him, I believe, unless he can pull off some spectacular micro and do a ton of damage to these tanks. But these tanks are in a really bad position as well. You kind of want to keep your tanks back a little in a situation like this, so they can't get sniped like they are right now. But Goody was unable to keep them alive. He GG's, leaves the game, and that's going to be the end of this game. Wow, that was an awesome game. Super exciting. Tons of drops, from both players. White astounding me again with his micro skills and his special tactics, as he likes to call them. Just absolutely fantastic. So I'm super glad I was able to cast this game, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So yeah, this is Unoriginal, casting my very first game. Hopefully I'll be able to do a lot more. But yeah, for now, that's the end. This is Unoriginal, signing out.